Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahawashi, Bahasham, Brakahak Barakatum. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, glory, and infinite honors to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahawashi. Double honors to the apostles and elders, a great millstone who rule and teach well. In peace and salutations to you sincere Akim out there, pushing this word in truth and sincerity to the four corners of the globe. May you brothers endure until the end. This is the brother Ra'aya with another video. And in this video, I'm going to start it off with a clip from Fox Business's YouTube channel titled, "What Are the Dangers of a Digital Dollar?" And to you Akim and Akwath in the know, you should already know where this video is going. It's dealing with the MOTB, that charagma in Revelation chapter 13, verses 16 to 18, which is the RFID/NFC MICROCHIPIMPLANT. And everything you've been seeing and hearing about really since 2019 with this whole C19 situation has been pushing us towards this ultimate goal of the elites to mandatorily implement that charagma, and everything dealing with CBDCs or central bank digital currencies, digital dollars, etc., are just stepping stones towards that eventual goal. And nothing will happen to stop these CBDCs and digital currencies and ultimately that charagma from being pushed in society. But real quick, let's go to Habakkuk chapter 2. I'm going to start at verse 1. "I will stand upon my watch and set me upon the tower, and I will watch to see what he will say unto me, and what I shall answer when I am reproved. And the men of the Lord, the prophets of the Most High, chiefly through GMS or Great Millstone, as well as the brothers that come in the spirit of GMS, out on the highways and byways preaching this word, as well as putting up video epistles like this, are standing upon their watch, seeing these events take place in the world and then filtering it through the scriptures." Verse 2, "And Yahweh answered me and said, Write the vision and make it plain upon tables, that he may run that readeth it." Doing video epistles like this, and again, going out onto the highways and byways preaching this word, filtering current events through the scriptures to let the hopeful elect know what times they're living in, as it says, that he may run that readeth it. That the hopeful elect that hear these words do whatever they can to get back into the good graces of their power, Yahweh Bahasham Yahawashi, so they can have that protective hedge over them during Jacob's trouble and ultimately receive salvation. Verse 3, "For the vision is yet for an appointed time, but at the end it shall speak and not lie. Though it tarry, wait for it, because it will surely come. It will not tarry." Point blank period. Though it seems like it's taken a long time for these prophecies to come to their fulfillment. Though it tarry, wait for it will surely come. It will not tarry. And when we see information like this hitting the mainstream news networks, talks of digital dollars, CBDCs, and a cashless society, we know these prophecies are no longer tarrying. And as we get closer and closer to the end, these things are just going to ramp up more and more. Because as it says in Revelation chapter 12, verse 12, that devil, Esau, Edom, the so-called white man, more specifically their elites, such as the Rothschilds, the Rockefellers, the DuPonts, the Gettys, etc., they are about to come down in great wrath because they know that they have but a short time. They see Israel waking up and calling back on Yahweh Bahasham Yahawashi, and they see the prophets out preaching, and they know that when these things take place, whatever kingdom that's ruling at the time is going to come to an end. And they also know that they're the biblical Edomites, and what the fate of the Edomites are when they're taken out of power. 1,000 years of hardcore bondage and slavery before they're permanently wiped off the face of the earth. So they about to come down quick and fast to implement this NW0, this GREATRESET, that fourth industrial revolution as quickly as possible to try to avert prophecy, but nothing will happen to avert prophecy from coming to its fulfillment. Hey, they'll mandatorily implement the charagma, but it's prophesied for them to go down and lose, and for the nation of Israel to be saved and rule in the kingdom of heaven for eternity. As it says in Isaiah 55 verse 11, so shall my word be that goeth forth out of my mouth. It shall not return unto me void, but it shall accomplish that which I please. Point blank, period. But now let's get into a little bit of this clip from Fox Business's YouTube channel. And this is a fair use copyright disclaimer. I do not own any of the footage in this clip, nor do I stand to gain from it monetarily. It is simply for educational purposes.
All right, for more on this, let's bring in Monica Crowley, former Assistant Treasury Secretary for Public Affairs and the host of the amazing podcast, the Monica Crowley Podcast. Monica, good to see you.
Great to see you.
So, listen, I think we share the same vibe on the digital currency. What's your take?
Yeah, it's hard to overstate how dangerous a path this is. When President Biden came into office, he ordered the Treasury Department under Secretary Yellen to actually begin a pilot program to study how this would affect the U.S. economy and the average American. We're not alone. Most Western governments also have these pilot programs. So there is a massive move.
And starting in April this month, the U.S. started instituting certain pilot programs looking into instant payment systems and I believe digital currencies as well. And then in July, the Fed is going to roll out FedNow, which is an instant payment system. And while they're saying it's not dealing with digital currencies or CBDCs right now, that's ultimately what it's moving towards. This is Executive Order 14067. Executive Order 14067, officially titled Ensuring Responsible Development of Digital Assets, was signed on March 9th, 2022. Hey, so it's already on the books and is the 83rd executive order, the 83rd one signed by U.S. President Joe Biden. Hey, Joe Biden's been putting in that work to help fulfill the goals of the elites. The ultimate aim of the order is to develop digital assets, a digital dollar, digital currencies in a responsible manner. The executive order addresses the potential national security implications of cryptocurrencies. So all these different programs getting put in place are moving towards digital currencies. Hey, first you're going to see it on your phones with these instant payment systems and digital currencies on your phone. But what do they ultimately want to move towards? That physical charagma in you. And they can come with many different ways to get it from your phone, in your hand, to literally in your hand, in your body. Think of a cyber attack. They could say, oh, you get your phone stolen and you lose all your digital assets. If you get this charagma in you, the only way they can get it is by cutting off your hand. But hey, all your personal biometric data is on that charagma. So even if they wanted to steal that data, they can't take it. And besides, the federal government looking into CBDCs and digital currencies, you've got different states looking into them as well. Over in Texas, they're looking into creating their own digital currency that's backed by gold. And they say it's to so-called keep the people from being under the thumb of the federal government. But what's that ultimately pushing society towards? That digital cashless society. And whether they're personally in on it and it's just further pushing things as a whole towards the plans of the government, or you may have these different states that are actually trying to be, separatist and try to not be under the thumb of the government. Because as we know, as it says in Isaiah 19 verse 2, Egyptian shall fight against Egyptian. There will be a second civil war in the U.S., not just between these citizens, but between different states and states against the government. Ultimately, what everything is leading towards is a CBDC cashless society for the whole country. and for the whole developed world as well, which is ultimately going to be predicated upon that charagma in your body.
Toward a central bank digital currency in all of these countries. The bottom line here is not ease or convenience. That's how they're going to sell it, right? The ultimate objective is to move us to a cashless society. So you will no longer have that hard asset of that $20 bill or $10 bill. Your money will essentially be software. It will be a number in a program that the Fed, Treasury, the government, your political opponents will all have access to. They eventually want to get rid of most banks. Now, the big ones are too big to fail. But in the end, the ultimate objective is to essentially wipe all of the banks out so that your bank will be the Federal Reserve. Everything will be centralized. And again, this is not really about the money, although of course it is. This is about power and control, because the government, such as it is, will have access to all of the information related to every single transaction you make. You buy a stick of gum, the government will know. You buy a new car, the government will know. Oh, you bought the wrong car. You didn't buy an EV. Now you're going to get penalized. So in the end, Sean, this is really a move toward a CCP style social credit system. And they're used.
And if you go and look at how that social credit system works over in China, they've got complete control over their citizens. If you buy the wrong thing, look at the wrong stuff on the internet, or talk to the wrong people, your social credit score goes down and you're looked at as a social pariah. You're barred from buying certain items, traveling on public transportation, or even getting a job. And they're bringing that over to the United States. China is the testing ground, the canary in the coal mine for what the elites want to do to the rest of the planet. And remember, a lot of heads of state of these different countries rub shoulders with the elites and are on board with this GREATRESET, that NW0. And they also want to tie carbon credits into this into these digital currencies and ultimately that charagma. Remember, they're pushing that global heating agenda. You buy too much meat, oh, we're going to deduct your carbon credits because you've exceeded your limit this week. Or you drove too far and used too much gas, the same thing. You're going to have to wait until the next payment period for you to be able to do those things again. Total control. You being the ultimate serf, the ultimate goyim, which is exactly what they want.
Using this move to a central bank digital currency as the biggest lever to try to get us there.
It's important to note that other cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin is decentralized. This will be centralized within the government. Bitcoin is a technology for freedom. This is a technology.
Bullshit. Bitcoin and these other cryptocurrencies were just things to get people subconsciously and psychologically prepared to eventually use digital currencies. Look, here's an alternative system that was created by this mysterious character in Japan that we can use to skirt the federal government, skirt the central banks. We can create our own alternative system, meanwhile getting you people used to using digital currencies, not having physical assets. When it comes time for them to truly lock everything down, since it's all going to be digital, they can just, turn all that shit off, and you're going to be assed out here. You're either going to go along with their system or what? You're going to live in the so-called underground. But they ain't even going to let that happen. They're going to start rounding those people up, these patriots and preppers and survivalists and those that want to live off the grid, and send you to these different FEMA camps, these detention centers for re-education or deletion. Hey, it's no coincidence that a lot of these Walmarts across the country are starting to close down because they're saying it's due to rampant theft. Just look at what Walmart is backwards. I'll just leave it at that. Also look up Jade Helm.
Or control. I mentioned this to you before. I brought my prop. I got a $20 bill. I can use this $20 bill however I choose, for meat, for guns, for even illicit purposes. But when the government controls the dollar, they can control, as we talked about in the report, whether you can buy a firearm, how much gas you can buy, how much electricity you can buy. Can you buy meat, or do you have to buy bug-based meat? They can control everything that you purchase with a digital dollar, and whether you can purchase anything.
Well, that's also the point, too, because if you overstep perhaps your monthly carbon footprint,
right,
or if you say something that the government doesn't like, you engage in wrongthink, they'll be able to turn off your access to your own money. So you will not be able to buy or sell anything.
That they may neither buy nor sell, and we might as well get it now. This is Revelation chapter 13. I'm going to start at 16. And he causeth all, that he being the elite rulers of the planet right now, of the nation of Esau, Edom, again, such as your Rothschilds and your Rockefellers, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, everyone in society, to receive a charagma in their right hand or in their foreheads, that C-hip implant, and lest we forget, Neuralink by Elon Musk, which deals with what? BCIs, brain-computer interfaces in your forehead. And you've got other companies working on BCIs as well, and that no man might buy or sell, get a job, travel abroad, etc., save he that had the charagma, or the name of the BEAST, or the number of his name. And this isn't just going to be some simple, mandatory implementation to where, look, you either opt into the system or you live off the grid like a caveman. It's going to get so serious out here to where people will be faced with being put to death for not receiving the charagma and going along with the system. Jump up to verse 15. And he, that he, again being the elites, had power to give life unto the image of the BEAST. And the image of the BEAST is the financial, political, and military aspects of this BEAST system that we're currently living in, which is the last leg of the BEAST in Daniel chapter 2. Those iron toes mixed with miry clay, the reincarnated Roman Empire, which is the NATO-EU alliance that the U.S. is a part of. And this charagma is a major aspect of the image, that the image of the BEAST should both speak and cause that as many as would not worship the image of the BEAST and receive that charagma should be killed, xed out of society, and then xed out of this plane of existence.
This is what I mean about how dangerous. Wrongthink, they'll be able to turn off your access to your own money. So you will not be able to buy or sell anything. This is what I mean about how dangerous it is.
You're shut out of the economy.
You are shut out of the economy. And of course, it's all subjective, and it will all be in the hands of these Marxists, right? And so you and I won't be able to buy anything. This is why it's so dangerous, because this spells the end of your economic freedom.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure the American people are really paying close attention to it. I'm glad Senator Cruz and some others, Governor DeSantis.
That's it with this article. That's the main point. But hey, this isn't just a U.S. issue, a Chinese issue, a EU issue, or a Russian issue. This is a global agenda to move the world towards a digital cashless society, ultimately based upon that charagma. Now I'm going to go to an article on payments.com. Digital currency monetary authority debuts international CBDC. The Digital Currency Monetary Authority has unveiled a digital coin designed to speed cross-border transactions, introduced Monday, April 10th, at the spring meeting of the International Monetary Fund. The authority's Universal Monetary Unit, UMU, is an international version of a central bank digital currency, CBDC. UMU is legally a money commodity, can transact in any legal tender settlement currency, and functions like a CBDC to enforce banking regulations and to protect the financial integrity of the international banking system, the DCMA said in a news release, banks can attach SWIFT codes and bank accounts to a UMU digital currency wallet and transact SWIFT-like cross-border payments over digital currency rails, a reference to the SWIFT payment system per the release. And it says cross-border payments in a digital currency wallet. Like I said earlier in the video, FedNow is being rolled out in July to deal with a quick cross-platform payments. And while they're saying it has nothing to do with digital currencies or CBDCs, this UMU right here lets you know that that's ultimately what it's moving towards, at digital dollar payments on it. A reference to the SWIFT payment system per the release. This allows users to bypass the correspondent banking system at best priced wholesale FX rates and with instantaneous real-time settlements, the release said. The DCMA pointed in the release to comments from Tobias Adrian, financial counselor at the IMF, who envisioned a multilateral platform that could improve cross-border payments, at the same time transforming foreign exchange transactions, risk sharing, and more generally, financial contracting. DCMA Executive Director Daryl Hubbard said in the release, UMU is the exact solution to the vision the IMF has expressed. The authority said UMU adopts a global localization public monetary system architecture and can be configured to meet the central banking regulations of each participating jurisdiction, point blank period. Okay, so as we can clearly see, though it tarry, wait for it shall surely come. It will not tarry. We're coming into the end game of all things, where all these prophecies are going to start quickly coming to their fulfillment. Now I'm going to close it out in Isaiah 34, verse 16. Seek ye out of the book of Yahweh, the scriptures, which people refer to as the Bible, which includes the Apocrypha, the New and the Old Testament, which the Apocrypha is a part of the Old Testament, and read. No one of these shall fail. No one of these prophecies shall fail. Again, Isaiah 55, verse 11. None shall want her mate. There is no other book, philosophy, so-called scientific idea, or any type of spirituality or religion or whatever you want to call it that can compare to the scriptures. This is the only book that has 100% true prophecies in it. It tells you what happened in the past, tells you what's happening in the present, and tells you what's going to happen in the future. For my mouth it hath commanded, and his spirit it hath gathered them, point blank period. So that's it with this video. With this video, I hope you sincere Akim and Akwath were edified. Just keep strong. As we can clearly see, we are almost out of this final wicked captivity of the heathen nations, chiefly of the biblical Edomites. And as always, I'm going to say Abad Babal, Kwam Yasharala, and until next time, Shalom.